But you can't say that. That's a violation of free speech.
Oh, yeah, about that. Speech, it ain't free no more.
What? It's not free no more?
Yeah, we're charging by the word now.
You're charging by the word? How much are you charging?
Depends on what you want to say. Like, you want to say something nice about the president's beautiful, thick yellow hair, or how he can do his makeup better than any broad. That's free.
Okay.
Robert De Niro doesn't just lampoon J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. He transforms them into a cinematic blooper reel, where the heroes think they're auditioning for history, yet the casting director can't stop laughing them off the stage. Trump, the sitting president, delivers the drama of a failed strongman desperately clinging to applause, while Vance brings the comic relief of a sidekick who confuses blunders for strategy. Together, they resemble less a political alliance and more a buddy comedy that the audience abandons halfway through.
The esteemed president has had himself appointed head of one of our premier cultural institutions. He has cut funding and support to the arts, humanities, and education. And now he has announced a 100% tariff on films produced outside the U.S. Let that sink in for a minute. You can't put a price on creativity, but apparently you can put a tariff on it. Of course, this is unacceptable.
If you're enjoying this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. De Niro takes on Trump first, tearing down the myth of leadership the president desperately tries to sell. He portrays him as a man who governs like an improvisational actor, always ad-libbing, never rehearsing, and convinced critics will call it genius. But instead of Oscar-worthy acclaim, Trump gets nothing but a relentless stream of eye rolls. De Niro turns every misstep into proof that the so-called mastermind is actually winging it. The result looks far more like a blooper reel than a presidency.
So blatantly stupid. He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig, he's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country.
Then comes J.D. Vance, a character who once criticized Trump only to become his most loyal cheerleader when ambition whispered in his ear. Niro doesn't miss the irony. He lampoons Vance's political reinvention as a performance so unconvincing, it makes amateur theater look genuine. Vance's flip from Trump's skeptic to devoted disciple becomes the centerpiece of ridicule, a plot twist so clumsy even soap operas would reject it. For Niro, Vance isn't a strategist, he's an understudy, desperately vying for the lead role, yet unable to remember his lines.
Worry that if he were to win again, and I'm not saying this like it's such a far-fetched notion, if he were to win again, that he would not give up power?
You know he won't. You know he won't. He even said it. He's never going to give it up. And anybody who deludes themselves in thinking that he is.
Trump's relentless obsession with image becomes Niro's next target. The gold-plated delusions, the craving for constant praise, the rally staged like a sequined Broadway revival, all of it proves that the president confuses governance with entertainment. Niro drives the point home by portraying Trump as a fading actor, addicted to his own press clippings, someone who believes that volume equals authority and spectacle can stand in for results. The comedy lands perfectly because every exaggeration already feels true.
Democracy is at risk in this election?
I think that it is. I always keep saying democracy is great, of course, but democracy people take for granted. It's a word that some people don't even understand. They take it for granted. It's about right and wrong, period. The guy's a monster. He is beyond wrong. It's almost like he wants to do the most horrible things that he can think of in order to get.
Vance, in contrast, gets roasted for his lack of originality. Niro emphasizes how the Ohio senator parrots Trump's talking points like a hype man, unaware the audience came for the headliner. Every speech feels recycled. Every stance appears borrowed. Every public move seems choreographed to mimic Trump's bluster. Niro casts him as the political equivalent of a cover band, loud and persistent, but ultimately forgettable once the real act leaves the stage.
Stupid. Stupid. Silly.
It's not necessary?
No. It's just a, as everybody says, it's just Trump with his big ego saying, I want a wall. And he's going to be obstinate until he gets, it's all stupid. It's all stupid.
Trump's fragile ego provides endless material. Niro relishes every tantrum, every attempt to rewrite history, every meltdown when reality doesn't match the fantasy. He turns the president into a parody of a mafia boss who demands loyalty but collapses under challenge. Power becomes a magnifying glass, revealing every insecurity. Vance, eager to echo every boast and conspiracy, comes across as a ventriloquist's dummy, trading dignity for proximity to power. The comedy lands because it's painfully true.
To the former president, is that true? Do you have to use a teleprompter when speaking about President Trump? Or are you able to just kind of riff on your thoughts on him?
He's so...
Niro compares Trump's governing style to a director who ignores the script, improvising every scene. Cabinet members are disposable extras, policies are ad-libs, and the country is a stage set constantly rearranged. The result is chaos, a vanity project, not leadership. Vance doesn't escape, mocked as a policy poser whose proposals feel like second-rate knockoffs. Niro skewers awkward handshakes, misplaced bravado, and pandering to strongmen, painting Trump as a tourist lost abroad, shouting at maps while pretending to know the language.
That this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has. He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face. This is somebody that we want for president? I don't think so. What I care about is the direction of this country. And what I'm very, very worried about is that it might go in the wrong direction with someone like Donald Trump. If you care about your future, vote for it.
The absurdity writes itself, and De Niro amplifies it, mocking a man who mistakes bluster for diplomacy while leaving America isolated. Vance fares no better, exposed as inexperienced and blindly echoing Trump. De Niro ridicules his attempts to sound authoritative, a student who memorized the Cliff Notes but never read the book. The senator's eagerness to cosplay as a statesman while parroting Trump becomes a running gag. Comedy deepens as De Niro shows Trump's true legacy, perpetual grievance, a soap opera villain replaying the same storyline until the audience can't take it anymore.
Thugs who use their strength to push other people around. They think they can achieve power and hang on to it by intimidating others. Sadly, sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. And now we have Trump. He's all that, about intimidation, retribution. He's going to prosecute. He's going to send you to jail for having an abortion. He's going to take your Medicare and Social Security away. He's going to deport you. He's going to send the military after you if you defy him. You know who this shit works on? The MAGA politicians who are afraid of losing their power. They're so afraid of him, he's got them kissing his ass. And now they're trying to intimidate us. We will not allow that, not even for a minute.
Vance is again skewered for enabling this culture of grievance, acting as Trump's hype man who cheers every meltdown, the political equivalent of applauding a fire while the house burns. His devotion to Trump's persecution narrative becomes comedy gold, revealing how he trades credibility for applause. Trump's economic boasts aren't spared either. Niro mocks the exaggerated claims, cherry-picked stats, and constant self-praise, comparing him to a failing actor bragging about a bombed movie. Vance's role in polishing this image is just as pathetic. Another sketch in Niro's takedown that exposes how far ambition can bend logic.
the Trump family to a gangster family, which is something coming from you. What do you mean?
They are. Well, because he thinks he's a gangster. He does everything like a gangster. I don't think that gangsters in that world would think much of him, because
Niro frames Trump's legacy as less about achievement and more about spectacle. Rallies, catchphrases, and endless merchandising aren't leadership. They're a brand struggling to stay alive. Trump becomes a carnival barker, selling tickets to a show that never delivers, leaving the audience drained yet expected to cheer. Vance is the carnival assistant, waving flags and shouting slogans while the main act stumbles, amplifying noise rather than forging his own path. The comedy comes from watching him hitch his career to a circus while pretending it's a symphony. The pairing isn't strategy, it's survival. One craving validation, the other proximity to relevance.
Trump.
What makes Niro's roasting is that he doesn't exaggerate. He magnifies what's already there. Trump is the showman who never knows when to exit, dragging out the act long after the crowd grows restless. Vance is the backup performer, mistaking imitation for loyalty and silence for wisdom. Together, they don't elevate each other, they diminish one another, turning the partnership into a punchline. Trump governs like an actor milking a monologue, and politics becomes vaudeville. Leadership reduced to rehearsed gestures meant only to keep the spotlight on. Niro highlights the absurdity by contrasting what leadership should be with what it has become in their hands.
If you want to do a joke like he's so fat he needs 2 seats on the Epstein jet, that's for the cost.
Okay. Can I just ask, just for clarity, because it's a pretty good joke, how much would that one cost me?
A couple of fingers, maybe a tooth, and you know how concept.
A leader builds, inspires, and charts a course forward. Trump performs, exaggerates, and rewrites history to cast himself as the eternal hero. Vance doesn't challenge the script. He memorizes his lines, hoping proximity to power will make him powerful. It never does. He is defined not by ideas, but applause, not by principles, but posture. The roast's brutality lies in its accuracy. Trump clings to the stage like a relic of a stale performance, while Vance resembles a student mistaking mimicry for mastery. Together they form not a partnership, but a parody of governance. Niro's roast succeeds because it exposes the absurdity of valuing performance over principle, leaving behind only the hollow echo of vanity masquerading as leadership.